Okay. G'day. Let's get this thing started, shall we? Can I get a idea if anyone can hear me? Okay. Oh, I got an echo there. G'day. Let's get this thing started, shall we? Let's stop that. And also stop that. Can anyone hear me? Can I get a hello or a here we go. Yeah, we're working now. Let's make sure we've got everything running before I fully dive into everything we're going to achieve today. I'm trying something a little bit different with the chats today. So I'm going to be hello. All right, awesome. Thank you guys on YouTube. Is anyone over on TradingView? If anyone can say anything over on TradingView, I'm trying something new with the chats today. So just getting an idea that I have done it correctly and I'm not going to miss anyone over there. All right. Hey guys, trading with Frenchie. Hello, thank you. Orman, all set. Thank you, mate. Water. All good, mate. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Now, either there's no one over on TradingView, or I have done something terribly wrong. So bear with me a moment while I try and figure this out. Howdy, Joel. Yeah, you just sent that. Okay, cool. We're working over on TradingView. All right, how we doing today, guys? How's everyone feeling? How's everyone's trading week been so far? I know some of you it will just be a Thursday night, but for me and everyone else based in Oceania region, it's a Friday morning. How's everyone's trading week been? Let's get everything sorted. Any good stories of the week? Any highlights? Anything anyone would like to mention? Be proud of? Feel free to boast away. I'm here to listen. What we're going to do today is dive into some, obviously I've got some Discord questions as well that I'm going to answer. Some people ask some questions, which is good. I'm going to run through them, explain all of that for everyone to hear and share the knowledge on them questions and ways you can battle certain things. And then after that, I'm also going to dive into the charts. We're going to have a look at the movement that the whole Ukraine-Russia thing created yesterday. And then on top of that, we're also going to dive in and have a look at the open trades I have and how I'm managing them. And then the trades I closed yesterday as well. So we'll have a look. The chat's a little bit delayed in terms of when I'm talking and when I'm getting a reply from you guys. It's about 20 to 30 seconds later. So if I start to change subject before your message, before I start answering your subject, that's the reason why. But I'll try and keep it all within range before moving to another subject. Okay. Joel's doing good, pretty good. Glad to be here. Well done. F. Bacheli, is it? Well done. Welcome. Glad to have you here. What have we got here? Danielle, welcome. Thank you for saying hi. Thank you for being here. Trading with Frenchie says snagged a big sell on GJ last night. Fantastic. Actually, GJ is one of the ones I didn't trade. Did it have anything to do with the whole Ukraine saga? Let's have a look just quickly before we dive into questions. Allow everyone to get in here and be here for that. Where's GJ? Why can I not find GJ? There it is. Snagged a build sell on it last night, so I'm going to assume it was during that news where you snagged it, seeing as there wasn't a whole lot of movement on the higher time frame, so you must have been trading on the lower ones in there. All right, let's dive into the Discord questions. I'm pretty sure we would have a few people in here by now. I have no reference to how many people are watching, who's watching, or unless everyone types in the chat, so keep in mind. Sorry if I answer these questions and you're not here, but I'm going to answer them anyway, and you can rewatch the recording if that's the case. Yes, I had a sell open before it happened, but I'm glad it didn't have a TP yet. Yeah, okay, right. Did you close that position, right? Like that was a bit crazy. Nearly passed the first stage of boot camp. Took a loss today, but happy that I managed risk. Fantastic. Nothing makes me more proud when I have a trade that's a loss, but I know I traded it exactly how I was supposed to trade it. Like, I've never felt such satisfaction coming away from. I get more satisfaction from that than when my trades win and I've traded it well. Coming away from a loss, but I managed the risk correctly, I followed the strategy correctly, and I did everything right. That's the best feeling ever. Well done, what? That's an impressive stat. I love that feeling as well. I'm proud of you. So let's dive into some of these Discord questions. We've got a couple here that I had a look through. We're going to start off with Justin Nelson's question. And he's come out and said, what are your thoughts on multi-time frame analysis versus trading entries / setups and the relationship between the two? So the questions confused me a little bit because you're discussing what are thoughts on multi-time frame analysis versus trading entries and setups, whereas you still trade entries and setups in multi-time frame analysis. So it's quite the strange question, at least to me, because I do both of them. I look at multi-time frame analysis, I run down the different charts, but then I still look for entries like the setups, the double tops, whatever it might be, to fit into my multi-time frame analysis. So in terms of them going against each other, I'm not sure. If you're mean like just jumping on the 1 hour and then trading only the 1 hour and just looking for the setups there, then if your strategy works and it's been tested, fantastic. I prefer multi-time frame analysis. I like to have an overall view of what's going on in the charts and how to react to them accordingly. But everyone's different. I mean, everyone's got their own trading strategies. We're not here to try and teach a trading strategy. The firm succeeds better if everyone has their own trading strategy and they all trade their own, because it brings diversity, and we can make money from all angles, which is what we want. Hi, Cowboy. How you going? No worries. No need to apologize for being late. Thanks for turning up. It's nice to see you. So in terms of to Justin, in terms of what you're asking there, it's a little bit, I guess, confusing for me when you've asked that. And the relationship between the two, once again, it's kind of like I use them both, so it's hard to pin them against each other and say which one I'd prefer, because I use them all. I do the whole thing. So it's a little bit hard. I'm sorry that's not the answer you're looking for or anything like that. I don't know if you're here, Justin, but I'm having trouble trying to answer that question, seeing as, I don't think they contradict each other. I think they actually work very well side by side. But I do prefer, every one of my trades has multi-time frame analysis. So thank you for your question, though. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you talking to me earlier in the week as well. It was good. What do we have here? Do you consider correlations when you trade from Trader Freya? Yes, sometimes, depending on what the correlation is. So I'm assuming by what you're asking is, do I have a look at like Japanese yen strength and then look on all the pairs for strength in the Japanese yen or something like that? It doesn't define the opportunities I look for. It will just give me maybe some extra confidence in the move, but it's not part of my trading plan. So if I'm shorting the Japanese yen on one pair and longing the Japanese yen on another pair, it won't bother me. I'll still do that, because while we might have one overview of the Japanese yen going up, there might be another currency that's been even stronger than the Japanese yen, but against every other pair, the Japanese yen is still going up. So sometimes, you can get that. Well, it's another one of them grey area questions. We're starting off the day with it. I do take it into account and I do have a look, but it doesn't really affect my decision making. Because if I'm seeing the US dollar be stronger than the Japanese yen, then there's a good chance that the US dollar JPY will go up, whereas the Japanese yen still might be a lot stronger than the Canadian dollar, which then, CAD JPY is going to go down. So, while they do coincide nicely, it can be all over the place. How about exposure? In terms of what, like, you want to minimize your exposure to a certain currency? Is that what you're asking? Same thing. Sure, I won't want to expose too much to one currency in case something goes wrong. But depending on what they're paired against and how the other currencies are moving, Is it going to really affect my decision making? Probably not. There's not too many times where I'm in a lot of trades that are on the same pair or on the same currency in the same day. Today I am. I've got two on Japanese yen, and I'll run through that. But it's not very often that they all coincide, because while they all perform similar setups, there's normally only one or two, maybe even just one, that really hits the sweet spot for my setup that I want to trade, and I'll pick the best looking one and go, okay, let's go with that one. I don't need to short all of them because there's just too much risk on the table. So yeah, I do have a look at the exposure, but once again, it's not part of my trading plan. It's not something I'll seriously affect my decision making. Hi Ringa, how you going? Good evening. Good morning for me, but good evening for you. What else we got? Oh, okay, we've got a few more questions coming in too. All right, I'll get to them momentarily. LJ's asked, first of all, big thanks to the 5% for adjusting the targets on the bootcamp program. Much more reasonable. No worries. That was something we've been working on for a little while, and we wanted to make it a little bit more achievable to get some more people funded through there as well. Are they going to automate the level up process? It is. I hear about this. Okay. Sorry. This is more of a support question. I will answer. It does take 24 hours for your bootcamp account to update. Unfortunately, we do have a lot of accounts coming through. And compared to the live funded account, which is instant, but you also have to go through signing the contracts and stuff with the live funded account. We'll try work on getting that a little bit quicker. But at the moment, considering the volume that we do and all the different accounts and having to manage everything accordingly, 24 hours is actually a pretty good window. But we'll have a look. We'll see where we can improve with that. Thanks for your question, LJ. Oscar said, I don't know if the right place to ask, but when trading a breakout strategy, does anyone use a lower time frame like the 15-minute for confirmation for pairs like gold that are more volatile? Well, Oscar, good question. That is a matter of what your overall analysis is on. What time frame is your analysis on? So if you're trading the 5-minute breakout, there's no point going to the 15-minute. But if you're trading the 1 hour chart, there might be times to go to the 15-minute to have a look at the more volatile pairs. Personally, I do. I trade the 4 hour, but I use the 1 hour and the 15-minute as confirmation. Okay, so all my analysis and stuff is done on the 4 hour chart. I'm trading the 4 hour chart, but I'm looking heavily into the 1 hour and the 15-minute chart to find my entry points, to find my exit points, and to see the whole confidence in the move that I want to see unfold on the 4 hour. So I definitely think it is beneficial to do multi-time frame analysis and get in on them smaller time frames to see if the money is actually backing the way that you want it to go. And you can start seeing them early signs of a nice reversal coming through, which is exactly what I do on my charts. And I'll actually show you some of that as I run through the trade reviews from this week and the trades I currently have open. I actually opened one just before going live as well, which we can run through a little bit later. Thank you for your question, Oscar. I'm not even sure if you're in the stream right now. I think you may have just asked that in the Discord for the sake of asking that, but if so, I'll reply to you a little bit later. Big Danny is asking my question about Psych. What are some tips for coming back to the market after having a losing streak? Okay, we're getting deep now, and this is the area I prefer to go. This is where I believe my knowledge and expertise can help you. And coming off a losing streak is a tough. It's a tough one, because I'm saying coming back after a losing streak, I'm going to say you've gone on a losing streak and you've stepped away from the charts, and now you're trying to come back into the charts. It depends on a range of different things. Okay, so first of all, it's understanding if your losing streak was caused by the strategy. Is it the strategy's fault? Have we back tested? Have we got a clear and fundamental understanding of the limits of our strategy and that this is possible sometimes? If so, while it may be hard to maintain focus and motivation during them losing streaks, you know that it's part of the plan, and you know that's part of what you've got to do to get through to the other side. So it can be a little easier in coming back, having that detailed analysis prior to trading that, because then you're able to, you can expect it, and that you're going to get these losing streaks come in. Understanding, if it's not the strategy, if it's little errors you're making, execution errors, FOMO, just genuine fear, anxiety, all these different things, there's a lot of different avenues to try and take to battle that, and that is the beauty of being a trader. The mental side of it is phenomenally difficult, and you just need to react and adjust accordingly. So what I recommend doing is running through your trades. Obviously, you've got to document everything. If you're not doing any documentation, like your trading journals, your trading plans, like anything like that, start. I don't know what you're doing. Like you're hurting yourself by not getting that done. So please do all that. But if you're, excuse me, what I recommend doing is understanding your ABC game, understanding what your strongest trading game looks like and what your weakest trading game looks like. Okay, so what do you look like? What do you feel? How are your trades? What does your history tab look like when you're at your worst in trading? And what you can do when starting to note this down and you start understanding is prior to opening a trade, you'll get that same feeling of, oh, hang on, I'm not in control. My emotions are in control here. Okay, like I'm not listening to my emotions. They're just doing their own thing. And by analyzing yourself and by documenting all of that data, the next time you start feeling that anxiety peaking a little bit, or that little bit of frustration, or that urge to win back some profits, you just got stopped out, but the trade's still going your direction. Let's get back in it. That type of stuff. If you have all that written down and you understand that every time this has happened, it really hurts you, then you can start, next time you start getting that little urge coming up your chest, or that bit of anxiety or that bit of stress, to go, hang on, I recognize this. Let's take a step back. Let's take our emotions as a signal to go, stop. Why are we trading this? Like, every time I felt this way, it's ended up badly. So let's take a step back and not trade that setup. And it's just a matter of trial and error doing that. You just got to document everything, especially in losing streaks. Losing streaks are the best time to learn. By far, when you get losses, like instantly after a loss, if you're feeling hot-headed, you're frustrated, it sucks. Like, oh my God, how did I get that wrong? Why did I enter that trade? Get a notepad, write down everything you're feeling right now. Not only will it make you feel better by getting it off your chest, but it'll also give you things to look out for in the future. If you start feeling this way prior to entering a trade, do not enter that trade. Okay, sure, sometimes you might miss a winner, but I guarantee you, for longevity wise, it'll save you a lot more money, because if you start incorporating your emotions into your decision making, you'll be better off long term. I can guarantee you that. There's a lot of different activities you can do to fix that if you want. If you're a live funded trader at the 5%, you can book a one-on-one portfolio meeting with me, and we can run through some of them activities and work a little bit more longer term together to fix that if that's something that interests you. Danny? Okay, sorry, I missed a couple chats there as I was rambling on. Can you chart Apple? Sure, I guess I could do that at the end of the session if you really want me to. I don't trade equities very often, but if you want. Hey folks, how you going? Pengia? Sorry if I've or Thepang. Sorry if I've absolutely butchered that name. That makes sense. Awesome, Danielle. Thank you. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the questions in the Discord. Unless there's any, oh yeah, Oscar Connolly. Thanks for answering. I used the 30 minutes to find support and resistance, and the 4 hour to find general trend to open a trade. Yeah. So you did pretty much the same thing as me, and I do like to use the lower time frames as complements for that as well. Let's go. All right, that is all the questions. That's I did get it. Okay. Does anyone, before we move into charting and before we dive into a little bit more in-depth analysis and talk about what happened yesterday, is there any more questions anyone in the chat has? Is there anything you want to discuss about struggle areas you have, a bit about psychology, a bit about trading, anything like that? Is there anything you want to chat about? Have you ever traded Forex options? I haven't, I'm afraid. I've always been in the range of CFDs, so can't help you there, unfortunately. Thank you, Joel. I appreciate you. I appreciate you tuning in again. It's always lovely to see you in here. So just quickly, I'm going to drink of water because I just spoke my heart out. If there's any questions anyone has, write them in now, fire away. I'll give it 20 seconds, because there is a bit of delay between me talking and the chat coming through. And then if not, we'll dive into the charts and have a look at what we got today. Friday today. Happy to break up, ready for the weekend, especially with the way the markets have been going a little recently. Been a little bit crazy. It's always exciting. All right. Okay, it's not looking like, well, the sun's just come out. It's not looking like we've got too many questions, which is fine. Let's just check over there. We will jump into the charts, I guess. I guess that's what most of you have been waiting for, right? Want to have a look at the charts? So, a few things I want to run through today on trading charts is the trades I've took this week, how we've gone about taking these trades and how I've managed them, plus the 2 trades I'm currently in, how I'm managing them, and one of them I've actually just entered. So just momentarily, I'm going to pull this camera down just a little bit so you can see me a little bit better. Cowboy says light. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Cowboy. Can you expand on that? LYED. All right. So I'm going to jump over to MetaTrader 5 account here, and we're going to go in the history tab, and we're going to have a look. We'll get back to that after. We're going to have a look at the trades I've taken this week, which is 3 different trades. Okay. We've had a trade on Euro US dollar, Aussie dollar US dollar, and Great British Pound New Zealand dollar, all equating to a nice little son of profit, just under 1%, plus open positions. We're looking at banking a little over 1% this week, which is a great trading week, depending on how the current trades turn out. I want to dive into a couple of them now. On our TradingView account, I have published a lot of these ideas, plus a trade review on Euro US dollar as well. I believe it was on Euro US dollar, right? Yeah, the trade review on Euro US dollar has been published there. So there's a 10-minute video there explaining the Euro US dollar trade if you want to go have a look at that. But we will have a quick little insight here on what the trade was and why we took it. So Euro US dollar was a pretty simple one. We had this very bullish move here on the 4-hour chart, and you can see a fair bit of strength. It really popped up. And in that, so I'm a bit baffled by what you mean by it. So I'll ignore that, Cowboy, all right? If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can see there's 2 candles now. On the 1 hour, this showed about 5 hours of constant bull pressure, as you can see here, which gave me an indication that there's a lot of buyers in this demand area down the bottom here, okay? So if we ever were to get down around this area, there's a high probability that we're going to have a bounce. There's going to be a lot of orders that didn't get filled. In particular, we're going to look for what I like to call the kill zone. Now, for you guys that have been watching or following the TradingView account for a little while, you'll understand what I mean by the kill zone, which would be in here. So the drawing is not great. It'll be in here or around here to get into. Can I just mute? There we go. Be in around this area, and we're going to look for buying opportunities. And this was our trade on the Euro US dollar. So that's exactly what we did. We had our 4-hour setup. We saw this slowly coming down, and then the moment we got in this range, we dive into the 1 hour and the 15 minutes to look for our trade opportunity. On the 1 hour, it's very clean, very clear trend line. You can see it formed like so. I mean, you can't ask for a clearer setup of a trend line like that. That's just fantastic. As we moved down, we bounced into the kill zone. We left a nice long bottom wick, not only on the 4-hour, but also on the 1 hour, followed by a break of that trend line, which was just phenomenal to see. Like, it was literally ticking every box of my trading plan on what I wanted to see. So we dove into the 15-minute, and the only thing we're looking for now is a break of structure, which is exactly what we got right here. So we had this pop up, break of structure there, and as we popped up, I waited a little while to see if we can come back down. I ended up entering around here, which we can see if I zoom in here and go on the 15-minute, and probably zoom out a little bit more, zoomed in a bit too far. I'm on the wrong chart, that's why. Here we go, Euro US dollar. On the 15-minute, and we'll come back down. Our entry point was just after that break above, which we just spoke about, and then came sideways. I was trying to see if we can get down. It didn't want to come down, so I entered the buy position. It eventually did come down just a little bit later, but I ended up entering the buy position there with stop loss below the bottom wick here, and a take profit just prior to this zone up here, because you guys should know how I trade by now. I don't like trading into the zones. I like trading just prior to the supply or demand zones, so we don't actually test that. Just quickly, hi, first time for me. Is it wise to have a daily profit target / loss when day trading? Tempting to help with overtrading. Sorry, I butchered that. Is it wise to have a daily profit target / loss when day trading? Tempting to help with overtrading. A daily loss can be a good thing in terms of capping it, but it all depends on your strategy there. It's a tough one to try and work out, because if you're overtrading, you'll know you're overtrading. Okay. And you'll get that sense of overtrading. If you're overtrading, but you're only deciding you're overtrading once you've had a whole run of losses, then there's something deeper that you need to dive into, because if you're not thinking you're overtrading when they're all wins, but you are thinking you're overtrading when they're all losses, then we've got a serious emotional damage there that we need to detach ourselves from. So in terms of capping, I wouldn't cap your daily loss or daily profit target depending on how you trade. If you're down on the 1 minute scalping, then maybe it could be beneficial to you. But what I would rather do is maybe lock in, only do certain setups, like really impressive setups. The ones that really grab you. Don't take the risk on the half ones. If you find you're trading too much, then only take those A+ setups. Have a criteria and look at that criteria before entering a trade and see, okay, does everything tick for my A+ setups? And then only trade those ones, because I don't like capping your earning potential and then I do like capping the losses, but you shouldn't be experiencing a large amount of losses as long as you're running risk management in a way. But yeah, it's an interesting one. It's a great question. It's a tough one to answer. But it all depends on you yourself and your trading strategy and how you run that. Blueprint Scott said, I could tell you what I do if it helps. I only trade one trade per day, win or lose, that's it. Yeah, so you can take that aspect if you want, but you could end up missing some great setups because you took an average setup prior. You know what I mean? Like, you might take the only setup you can see at the moment and really look for a trade, which it could work out, but it's kind of average, and then you trade that, and then later in the day, for the first time in 4 months, you're getting A+ setups, but you're limiting yourself to trading those A+ setups because you took an average setup, and then you're going to miss good trades thinking they're average setups, waiting for an A+ that's just not going to come. So limiting your trades in that sense, I don't like to do. I think it's more just focusing on the emotional and the mental side that's making you feel like you're overtrading. What's giving you the incentive to trade certain setups? Like, are they really setups, or are you just trading because you're bored? That's something you need to assess. At the moment you're aware of your bored, your boredom gets so much worse, and it gets a little harder because you're looking for even more, and you know you're bored. So I think there's other areas of your trading you need to address that's leading to that issue, rather than capping your trading potential. That's my advice to you. Hi, Solaviv. Lucien, how you going? Good. Nice to see you. I found it useful to start trading the 1 day, looking for the overall direction, then go on a 4 hour and then the 15-minute. Yeah, it's a big jump from the 4 hour chart to the 15-minute. I like to take a step down through that, but yeah, multi-time frame analysis is pretty impressive. Hi, Mike, how you going? Sorry I'm late. Do not worry at all. We're going to be here for a little bit longer, and depending on how long this goes, we might even go a little bit further as well after the usual hour. We'll see how my voice ends up after talking nonstop. You haven't missed too much. We've just been answering a couple of questions, talking about a bit of psychology, and we've only just jumped into the charts here. All right, back to the chart. Euro US dollar. This was the trade we had. Okay, so So as you can see on MetaTrader 5, this was the entry point down here on the 15-minute. We managed to get that just, where was it? Just in here, this little pop-up here on the 15-minute. And then we sat still for a little bit. Now, what I actually ended up doing was taking half the position off. As we come up to this area, I took it off. I think it was just in here where I took the half of the position off. And I didn't like the fact that I took the position off. And now this is going to be something that I'm interested in sharing with you guys because you might be able to relate to it. I took half my position off at this point, or a little less than half of my position, because I wanted to bank the profit. Okay, I wanted to lock it in, so if the trade went against me, I wouldn't sit there going, damn, I left profits on the table, which is a sign of fear. So what I did is I made a decision out of fear. Now, the reason I can recognize this and the reason I know this and I know how to improve this is because I documented it. The moment I did it, I was like, okay, why did I just do that? And it's because the inside of me was telling me, not overly confident in this. This could turn at any moment. This could go down. This could end up being a loss. Let's just lock it in some profit. So it's exactly what I did. And what happened? I left so much money on the table. It come up and it hit my take profit. So I just didn't bank as much profit as my original trading plan. I broke my trading plan out of fear. Now, the reason I'm telling you and being so open with this is because I'm hoping some of you can relate. Maybe some of you have done this before. Moved your stop to break even too early. Taken a lot of the position off out of fear that it's going to become a loss. Recognize it. Recognize the feeling you get. Recognize everything about it to prevent it from happening before. Because while it might bank profits right now, if I look at a longevity of maybe 6 months to a year of trading, it's going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue long term. So it's important that we recognize these things. And that's why I'm being so open and telling you guys this as well. Because I sit here and I help so many traders battle that fear and tell them what to do. And then I went and made the same error myself, which happens from time to time. But what the importance is we recognize what the error is, what's caused the error, and how to rectify the error, how to prevent it from happening again. So I ended up taking half the position off a little too early. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. The fact that I took half the position off, and then it went up and it hit our take profit, just a little short for the take profit. I ended up closing the full position. It was only a matter of about $2 or something. Closed it here, and as you can see, that was a great decision because it came down quite quickly. Overall, we banked $97.96 on that, trading on a bootcamp account. That's pretty good. It's about, 0.45%, something like that, 0.4% profit, which is good because I risk 0.25% per trade. Getting a 0.5 result is fantastic, and as I said, looking at this week, we're a little over 1% up this week, which is exactly what we wanted. That was the Euro US dollar trade. I spent a little bit too much time on that than what I wanted to, but that was the trade, and I wanted to run you through exactly what we did and what we achieved in that right there. How do I like that on Aussie dollar US dollar this week? Joel, so did I, and I'm going to run you through it, exactly my trade plan and exactly how that trade happened. My biggest issue right now, how do I work through it? That, Ringo, you're talking about the banking profits too early. Yeah, that's a very big question that I won't have enough time to answer today. Depending on, are you trading a live account? If you're trading a live account with us, you can book a one-on-one portfolio meeting with me, and we can run through how to address that and how to fix it. But the biggest clue I can give you straight off the bat is just documenting everything. I've been saying this from the get-go. Everything, your emotions, how you feel after a certain trade, how you feel before the trade, how you're feeling in general right now in life. Are you feeling at a solid 6, at a solid 7? Have you had a really bad week? Has something been going on outside of trading that's got you feeling a little low? Are you in the zone? All this type of stuff. Like, we need to address this, and that's why you see so many traders going through and doing the I've had a mental blank, meditation and all that other stuff, exercising. Got to make sure you keep it fit, eating healthy, because it all matters in your brain. It's all focused up here. You've got to be in the zone to think clearly, act clearly, and not let your not ignore your emotions. So a lot of people try to control their emotions. We don't want to control them. We want to use them as signals. We want to feel an emotion and then take an answer. It's our job. We're detectives. We look at this market and look for opportunity. Our emotion tells us exactly what we're going to do. And a lot of people try to ignore them or control them. It's not the thing. If I'm feeling fear, I know based off how I've previously felt fear that I should just walk away. Let the trade go. Let it do its thing. Like I don't need to adjust the stop loss. I don't need to bring in the take profit. I need to read the chart and let the chart tell me where it's going to go. But if I'm feeling certain aspects or certain emotions before making a decision, I need to note that. You need to understand that. I'm a master of setting my stops too tight. Candice, it's a common problem. It's a common problem, and that all depends on technical analysis, your strategy. But it's more of the emotion. If you can have a trade and you trade it correctly and you trade it well and it ends up in profit, you've had a great trade. It doesn't matter how much profit that is. You've had a great trade, okay? But if you don't trade to your plan, or you have a plan to take the euro US dollar, from $1.30, 1.13 to 1.14, but you took all your profits at 1.135 and it still went to 1.14, you're a bit like, what? Why did you do that? And that's what you need to understand to stop it from happening in the future. Blue Pip, I definitely can relate to this. I don't take partials, but I made an adjustment this year to not trail my stop losses by percentage gain, but rather the market structure. Well done. Very well done. That helped my gains tremendously. Fear was causing me to leave a lot of money on the table, and journaling helped me see that. Fantastic. Fantastic. That is absolutely great to hear, and that's 100%. That's what you got to. It's what you got to do. It's what you got to understand, and I can tell you now, like you just said, journaling's helped you, but I can tell you right now, journaling has revolutionized your trading in ways you can't even imagine. And guess what? When you come up to your next problem, you're going to have the skills to be able to battle that problem. Why? Because you know how to journal and you know what to look for. You know how to recognize your emotions now. And trailing your stop loss by percentage gain. Sometimes I do it as well in my own trading. Turn off the profit and loss. Turn off the dollar value, especially trading for the firm where we need to hit a certain target. Guys, turn off the profit and loss. Don't look at it. Just look at the chart. Just look at the setups. Just look at what the candles are telling you. You don't need to see the dollar figure, because the dollar figure is going to affect your emotion, then your emotion is going to affect your head, and then you're going to make decisions you don't want to make. Another thing. But fantastic Blue Pip squad. That's fantastic to hear. It's great to see people revolutionizing and adjusting in that way. Did you figure that out through trade images? What do you mean by that, Joel? Thank you, very helpful. No worries, Ringo. I'm glad I can bring some value to you. Candace said, if you look at my trades, I almost always pick the start of large moves. Just got to learn not to move my stop to break even so soon. Yeah, so that's telling me if you're moving your stop to break even so soon that you're not reading chart. You're rather, if you're also picking the right move, you're either looking at the wrong time frame when you are adjusting your stops, not the time frame of what your analysis is actually on. Like, for example, I'll enter on the 15-minute chart, but then I'm not going to adjust my stops according to the 15-minute chart, because you can see in this whole move we got lower lows, we got liquidity grabs that would have stopped me out if I was following market structure with my stop. But my analysis was on the 4-hour, and not once did we get a lower low until even here it wasn't a lower low. We still haven't achieved a lower low. So it depends on your market analysis in that way, but then also it's telling me that you're fearful of losing, and it's quite a weird thing to have, because we accept so much risk by being traders. The only way we make money is by putting risk on. This is what we do. We risk money to make money. And the fact that we can come in this with a fear of and I'm not pinging this on you, Candace. Sometimes I struggle with it too, especially when we take on more money. Well, I remember I took a step up and took a lot of equity on about a year ago in my career, and I found out that step was too big for what I was ready for because of that fear. All of a sudden, I was like, moving my stop. My strategy changed a little bit, which is why we upgrade at the 5%ers in stages and in steps, so we can help you and encourage you to slowly build your equity, because I can guarantee if we just went and gave you a big lump sum, your mental game will go absolutely haywire, and that's almost a guarantee. It happens. Anyway, I'm really glad you're all enjoying that content and what I have to share there. But let's dive into some charts, because it has already been 40 minutes, and I want to run through these trades and then have a little talk about yesterday and the whole Ukraine ordeal. But once again, you can book a one-on-one portfolio meeting with me if you're trading a live account at the 5%ers. So feel free to do that if any of you guys are struggling on those areas and you would like my input and like my help. I can help you out doing that. Aussie dollar, US dollar. Someone just said, Joel, it was you. You had an idea on that. This was the setup I took on Aussie US dollar. It was going really well until the whole Ukraine and Russian news started coming out, in which I went risk off. I'd rather go risk off. So this is what I did, and I'll show you the positions. But very similar setup to Euro US dollar, as you mentioned. The 4 hour, we had a nice slow pump up, drop back. This little bit of, maybe a little nervous, okay, but it did give us a solid demand zone. As you can see, that we dipped in once very lightly here on the 1 hour, popped up, and then come back down and dip back in. Now, the second time we dipped back in, we managed to break the trend line, and as we broke the trend line, we also obviously broke market structure as well. Now, finding the exact point I entered here was a little later. When was that? Where was that? I think it might have even been around here. So I might have noticed this one a little bit later than, what was it up here? It's just prior to that. Yeah, so I entered in around here. So I noticed this one a little bit later. As we got a break, I come back down and we'll move them back up. That's where I got in, looking at the buy position. And a very similar setup to Euro US dollar. It was something along the lines of this, my overall trade. And thanks, yeah, no worries, Candice. That was the trade we were looking at, and that was the trade we had. Once again, I took it off at the same time as I took Euro US dollar off, half the position. Took off half the position and was a bit like, okay. Looking back, I wasn't happy. It was literally at the same time, so double the error. Looking in, why did I do that? There was no need to do that. I could have made a lot more money on the trade, but I didn't. And then we left it keep going, and it did get nice and high, and the profit was looking good. And then Ukraine, Russia happened on this big, we're on the 15-minute chart here. We had this big drop, a punch up, and then it was just kind of sitting here. And I was reading the articles of what was coming through, the reports. No big sources, but enough to move the market and manipulate the market, which was enough for me. And I decided it gave me insight that people were buying the US dollar. If this war does break out, people were flooding into the US dollar, which was against the way that I wanted to. With the risk of that all unfolding and breaking out, I decided to take my risk off and close the position. I was like, let's just bank what I've got in. If, war is declared in the next 2 days, as we can see from that little movement right there, this is going to shunt straight through my stop loss. So I took risk off. I was like, done. I'm done with this trade. I'm happy to take the profits I did. And what did we bank in the end there? We got 59, which is just 0.25% of the account, which was a 1-to-1 trade. So I ended up just taking all the risk off at that point in time and going no. And you would have seen the message in the Discord as well. I did tell all the traders, guys, I'm going risk off. Any trades that were still going in my favor, and I'll run you through which ones like that. Stops were into break even. Any trades that looked like they were going to turn due to news were closed out. I didn't want to be in the markets at that time with all of that unfolding, which still might happen today. Keep in mind, it still might happen today. That was my Aussie dollar US dollar trade. Did you have something like that, Joel? I was targeting up the top, and we still might get up the top, but I'm not in the trade anymore, and I'm not looking to get back in it. I don't want to trade against the way that volatility came in when that news came through. Ideally, I don't want to be against that crowd. I'm assuming you would have had something similar if you were saying the euro trade was similar. Euro Japanese yen. No, I didn't trade that. It didn't get high enough. Obviously, we've got. Actually, I missed the trade before. Sorry, someone did ask. Oh, yes, sorry. It said, how are you deciding where to draw the supply and demand zones or kill zones? Any specific criteria? Yeah, so I'm looking for areas where orders would have been filled, or like the last final push before we get a big move or a big trend changing direction. So as you can see here, we had these four bull candles. That to me right there that's the area of supply because we managed to wipe them back out, followed by even more. So this is where they started cooping a lot of orders to go to the short side at this point in this push up here. And then the kill zone is essentially the last opposite candle prior to the move. So the kill zone will be, if we look into the downside, my kill zone is going to be the bull candle, the last bull candle, where all the orders were essentially hit enter and came in, and that runs for all of them too. Aussie dollar, well, that kill zone was this whole candle here. If we go back to the euro, you can see, I took the drawings off. The kill zone was this little red one in here, and you can see that bounce off there, and then wicks. Sorry, I missed that before. Euro Japanese yen didn't get up to my kill zone, so I didn't trade it. It did come up and hit the supply zone and bounce nicely, but most of this movement in here was, as you'd expect, Ukraine and Russia. So who knows how well that'll stick in. I think it'll continue to the downside. Continue to the downside now, but we'll have to see how that unfolds in the future. Same trade. It was time to go to bed, and there was resistance building, so I closed it. Fair enough, Joel. Fair enough. Same trade. Great analysis. Great British Pound New Zealand was another trade I was in, which I loved personally. I used 50% moving average as support and resistance. Impressive. Okay, well done. I hope that works for you. Great British Pound New Zealand was one of my favourite setups, and still kind of is, but I'm not in it anymore due to the news. So it was quite difficult to, what's the word I'm looking for? It was difficult to close, but I didn't want to be against the train of that news with the potential war breaking out. Okay, so we had a lower low set. We popped back up into this demand zone, supply zone, and then popped out just a little bit. And you can see this whole area we had, and then we broke below it here on the 1 hour, and then even on the 15-minute, we created a bit of a flag pattern and then dropped below. That was one of my greatest setups, and it's annoying because it's one of the trades I made the least amount of money on. But it was so clean and everything about it. And I could see it coming down, popping into this purple zone, which you can see it did. It popped and bounced, and then continuing through. But then the news came out, and what it actually did was formed a higher low, which is not something you want to see when you want to see the chart creating lower lows, a higher low. So once I saw that, I was like, okay, I need to start looking at ways out of this. And then we had the Ukraine news, which didn't affect the pair too much, but it was still against the original direction that I wanted to trade. So I took risk off, as you can see. New Zealand, what are we talking about here? Great British Pound New Zealand. You can see here, we shorted there, and then I took risk off on all that news coming out there. So kill zone is basically what SMC traders call the order block. I'm not sure who you're referring to as SMC traders. So maybe, I don't know. Sorry, I don't know who SMC traders are. Yeah, so we pumped down and got out there, which was annoying because it was a really nice setup, and I really did enjoy the setup. But risk comes first. Risk is paramount. CAD Japanese yen. This was one of the ones I didn't close during the news, and the reason I didn't close it during the news is because the news was pushing it in the direction we want. Smart money concepts. Okay, is that like a trading group, or is that just like a type of trader? Or I've never heard of SMC before. Yeah. So once we CAD Japanese yen, very simple, very clean setup. We had this strong bearish candle here. You can see it's a great bearish candle, exactly the type of move we want to see popping out in an area. It looks like it might have been conflicted with a bit of news because there is so much power in it. But if it was, it would have been something like the PMI data or something like that. It's a trading methodology. Oh, there you go. Or maybe I trade like that. Yeah, sorry, I'm unsure. But, well, apparently so. So, yes, guess that's the answer. We had this push down, and then we had a very slow build up, and same as Euro US dollar, we had a very clean trend line all the way through here. Very nice, very clean, and it was just nice to see, exactly nice to see. We got up in the area up here, we got up in the kill zone, and then when we got in the kill zone, we formed a channel, and then what do we have? A beautiful little liquidity grab, love a little liquidity grab, and then a big shunt down, breaking the trend line, coming up and retesting it, and then it just kind of flatlined for a little bit. And in here's where we got our entry point, which you can see on CAD Japanese yen right here, and we're still in this trade. Okay, we're still in this trade. Right there was our entry point. We popped up. If we go into the 15-minute chart, you can see here, this is where we came down. We broke that trend line right here, and we kind of sat still, and that was the sell. Then the big Ukraine and Russia news came out, and it's shown something very, very interesting, that a lot of people rushed to the Japanese yen as the safe haven currency. A lot of people, and we saw it in Japanese stocks too. The Japanese stocks rallied on that news. So it's very interesting to see that a lot of people and a lot of money is looking towards the Japanese yen if this stuff breaks out. And bang, we had that massive shunt down. Now, on every other pair, I did take out the trade and say risk off. But on this one, what I did is bring my stop to break even, because the news was actually benefiting the direction that I wanted. If we did have any more news come out, it was going to help me. Any more war talk, it was actually going to help the pair move forward. So I still took risk off by bringing my stop to break even very early than what I usually like. But I let the trade run just to say, if there was more news, it looks like Japanese yen is going to be that safe haven pair. We could see a lot of movement in there. So in the CAD Japanese yen, and then on the 4 hour, it ended up just drawing very nicely. And as you can see, we are still moving to the downside. We had this channel here, which I think is going to be a struggle to break, because you can see it's kind of extended around here. So we'll be reviewing the trade here. My target is set down here. My take profit target is set in here. But depending on how we unfold, we could potentially go lower, because if you're looking like, let's say we're on the daily chart, I can see it, that would have been a high and then a low, and then it's come back up and it's tested the demand zone there, and now potential break lower. So it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. I'm going to keep a close eye on it, but I do have my target set. Just open the wrong thing. I do have my target set, as you can see down here. What price is that? It's not going to tell me the price. Where are we? CAD Japanese yen, 90.055. That's CAD Japanese yen. Sorry, I missed a couple chats there. Trading strategy, I'm with SSC concept and yes, kill zone and core order blocks. Okay, well, there you go. That makes sense. Look at that setup too. Okay, I thought so. Makes sense. Also, my TP that's support. Which support? This support here on CAD Japanese yen. This what you're talking about, or is it this one? CTR is fun, so they offer a course about it. Right. Okay, Candice. Understandable. Do you use B profile for pinpoint entry? I do not. I use literally market structure. I look for breaks and multi-time frame analysis for my entry points. I'm not fussed about getting like a pinpoint right at the top entry. I just want to catch the move, but I want to catch the move safely and correctly. So I don't with that. Then finally, I want to run through the last trade. It was a trade I took this morning. It's very similar to CAD Japanese yen. If anything, a little bit nicer, a little bit cleaner. This is literally just unfolded before my eyes about a couple hours ago. We had this nice push down, which actually broke a lower low on the 4 hour, which was a good sign. Very nice push down. A clean trend line to the upside, all the way up. Tapped into the kill zone, or what you guys apparently like to call order blocks. I think I'm still going to call them kill zones because I've been calling them kill zones for like the past 2 years. So it's just going to be easier for me. Tapped up into the kill zone, as you can see here, and then look at that big shunt. Now that big shunt was the Ukraine news. Okay, so that big shunt down wasn't essentially just what we wanted to see, but there was a little doji candle there prior, and then we had the Ukraine news bounce back up, and then this morning we've managed to break the trend line, and in breaking that trend line on the 15-minute, we've also, as you can see, we had a bit of a bottom form and then a breakthrough, and then on that pullback is when we've entered the trade right there, and that's where I'm looking to sell, and I'm looking to sell right down to the bottom. I think this can go quite low. There's a lot of money moving into the Japanese yen at the moment, and if you have a look on higher time frame, we're here on like the daily chart, you can see that we're actually bouncing right in that daily trend line as well. So I can see this moving back down, but we'll keep our eye on it. We'll see how it unfolds. At the moment, it's running reasonably well. Still very new position, so we're going to have to. It's doing the same thing it did here and forming a flat line, and we are in the Asian session, so we can't expect it to do a whole lot for us. But we will keep our eye on it, and we'll see how it unfolds throughout the day. Probably hold these positions over the weekend, depending on how the US session opens later tonight. I might manage to trades in the morning for me prior to the session, the week session closing, and have a look if I'm going to hold these over the weekend or not. But with the threat of war, if it was to break out over the weekend, we can see big gaps happening over the market. So I'm a little hesitant to want to hold trades over the weekend this weekend, but we'll see how it unfolds. That is my trades this week. That is a trade review. And as I said, I'm doing this bootcamp account right now. I'm actually going to jump it over to a live account probably 2 weeks from now and trade the live account with you. But I'm trading this side by side. You can see this is the week's trades, $180 profit so far, plus a running profit of another 85. And we're going to see how that goes. And then we're just going to slowly keep trading this until we essentially pass the challenge together. Depending on how it's running, I might just go straight onto a live account rather than a bootcamp account, which would be a little bit more beneficial. Plus, I mean, we can make some money too. But let me know if that's something that interests you guys, because I think it's something that'll be more interesting to have a look and see how I trade live, not just now like this, but also on a funded account. We squeezed pretty much everything I wanted to run through, literally just in an hour. Like, we are 40 seconds away from being an hour. While I've non-stop talked and my throat is getting extremely sore, I think we've done all right. So I'm going to open it up now. Any questions, anything you guys want me to run through, any charts analysis, anything. Obviously, I believe my expertise can help you a lot more in-depth questions. If you're struggling with some aspect of your trading, mental side, or anything like that, I can help a lot more than doing analysis and using it as confidence. I don't recommend doing that because it's exterior noise that you don't really need to hear, or exterior noise that's just going to affect your decision making and then affect how that goes. So if there is anything in there, any questions you guys have, please send away. Now's your time to do it so I can answer them for you. Persifying, how you going? What's up, babes? Great British Pound, Japanese yen, looking for a hot short sell. Actually, we had a little talk about that before, didn't we? Maybe. It's not super clean, but you definitely probably could find a reason to go short if you wanted to. But look at this; it's quite messy, very messy. But you could find an opportunity, I think. DS Power says, should I focus more on risk to reward or win ratio? Your strategy should tell you that. If you backtest your strategy, and I mean thoroughly, properly backtest your strategy, that answer should be known to you regardless. Because you'll know the limits of your strategy and you know where to adjust your risk to reward ratio in order to focusing on a win ratio. I think it's pointless. It doesn't matter how many times you win as long as you're profitable, right? And you can only win 1 in 10 trades and still be profitable. So I don't believe focusing on a win ratio is beneficial to anyone, because it's more of an ego pump to say, oh yeah, I'm right all the time. That's just an ego pump. Like, you need to, and it's tough because trading's full of, it's an egotistic world, right? There's full of egos and everything of, I'm the best trader, and then you go out in the market and you see all the courses being sold and what they're showing off and all that. It's very egotistic world. A high win rate, I don't think it's going to be that beneficial. I think you're better off just looking for what's going to make you the most profit long term. Okay, what have we got here? With the 5%ers, if you have a stop loss set but news like Ukraine blows up everything, can you lose more than your stop? 100%. Yeah, with anyone, you can lose more than your stop. If the market gaps, especially over the weekend, which is why we've limited the margin on Swiss franc out of fear of the gap market like it did last time, like back in 2015, it gapped 3,000 pips. All right. And regardless if you have a stop loss, if that market's gapping, it's going to take you out all the way down at the bottom of wherever that market opens. So 100%, if you get a massive move, sometimes you can get a lot of slippage. You see it more in the equities market and stock trading, you get the slippage, but it is possible to happen on these brokerage accounts too. So it is important to be very careful. When journaling, what does your template look like? What do you track? I've got about 4 different documents that track everything. What I'll do is I'll clear off a couple and get a couple templates. I'm not gonna run through it all because I journal all on the same document for all my accounts. So there's going to be a lot of personal information on the ones I have available at the moment. So what I'll do is I'll clear one up and make one just for this 5%ers account, and then I'll run through either next week or the week later. I'll run through why I do it, how I do it, and we'll have a dedicated live session like this just to working through that for you. I think it'll be good for all of you to see that too. Mine's systematic, and I trust more risk reward ratio. I agree. Yeah, it's just I think you're focusing on the wrong things there, Power. I think you're focusing, like, your question there is telling me you're constantly thinking about profit, and it's not the best way to do. Just the chart will tell you where it wants to go, and I especially don't like it when people come in with a fixed risk reward ratio, like they go 1 to 3, like they'll find a setup and they'll trade it and they'll put their take profit at wherever 3 times the risk is, and it's just kind of like, why? Like, the chart can tell you exactly what you want to see. Like, but it works for some people. Persifying said, thoughts on US dollar CAD. Where are we? There you go. We're ranging. We're sitting in the range. I was actually watching it down here, thinking about a buy. I didn't end up taking it. But that's my thoughts on US dollar CAD. We're sitting in this range, and I don't want to touch it until we get out of this range, to be honest. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Maybe shorter term you can find some opportunities, but looking at the 4 hour, not for me, I'm afraid. I'll set up a one-on-one. I'm a funded trader. Awesome, Ringer. It sounds good. We'll run through a lot of journaling and then how to help you battle that mental side of things as well, and how to journal your emotions and to recognize when you're going to make a decision that you're going to regret later internally. Because a lot of traders look external when they start hitting trouble areas. They start jumping to the next strategy, thinking it's the strategy that's wrong, or giving up and going, oh, this is too hard, like I keep making stupid decisions and I'm done. And it's because they're constantly focused on the chart and they're constantly focused on their P&L, and they're ignoring their own body and mind screaming at them, trying to tell them exactly what to do. And it is. And every emotion you feel prior to a trade, every emotion you feel during a trade, and every emotion you feel after a trade, it's a signal. It's a signal. You just need to understand and become a detective to learn what that signal is and what it means. And through journaling and through documentation, you can understand exactly what it means when you start getting anxious during a trade. You can have a look and be like, okay, every time I felt like this, I've either made a bad decision or it's ended up being the right way. Like it's my gut telling me to close the trade. And through documentation, you can understand long term whether to listen to that signal or not. And that's something a lot of people don't do. And it's just it's crucial. It's crucial that we do that. Yeah, fantastic power. Awesome. All right, I think our time's coming up. So if anyone does have any questions, literally now's your last chance. Otherwise, you're gonna have to wait all the way till next Friday or Thursday, depending on where you are in the world, before we run through any more. But I think we've had a pretty successful live stream today. I've talked a lot. Yeah, very happy with my system. It's the human side I have the most. I'm not sure what you try to write there, but I know what you're putting across. Yeah. We'll help. I'll do all my best to help you and give you a couple tips that helped me battling it. And it's a battle we never stop having. Okay, like you're not going to reach a point of perfection and then it just runs and you're just good. It doesn't happen. Okay, for the next 20 years of being a trader, you're always going to have battles. It's just a matter of increasing your worst game bit by bit by bit by bit because it'll push all your best games further ahead. Potential. Okay. Yep. Emotional damage. Oh. How can I know if the US session open high or low? Sorry, Farmy, I'm unsure on what your question is. How can I know if the US session opens high or low? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? What do I think of GU? Have a quick look. Same thing as US dollar CAD. We're in a range. We're testing the top of that range right now. Could potentially be a shorting opportunity. Not something I'm going to short, but you never know. You never know. I think we're sitting in this range. We'll see how that unfolds. It's not something I'm going to touch. I don't like. I'm not a big fan of range trading. Up or down. A few minutes. Farmy, I'm sorry. I really got no idea what you're asking. Are you asking me to predict the US session, whether it goes up or down? I don't think I can do that. If I knew how to do that, I think we'd all be making a lot of money right now. Swiss franc, Japanese yen, very choppy. Move unlike other yen pairs from J4X. Swiss franc, JPY, where are we? Why can I not see you? There you are. It is very choppy compared to the other ones. You are correct. It tells me that it's pretty evenly valued. The market is quite happy with where it's at a price. So I don't think it's going to be anything I trade for a few weeks because I'm going to need something to indicate that we're moving in a certain way. You can see right now that we're kind of sitting in this moves range right here on the 4 hour. But yeah, I agree. It is very choppy. There's a good order block in the upper range of GU. I'm assuming you're talking about up here. Like up here on the 1 hour, maybe, but yeah, it's getting very close to breaking that higher high, so it's a little worrying. Like if I was trading supply and demand break on this one, this would be the pullback I'd try trade. I'd be a little worried about how much this has moved in that order block already. Yeah. Farmy, I'm sorry, I'm not able to predict the Nasdaq, S&P, and Dow Jones on the way it's going to move when it opens. I think if I was able to predict that correctly, I would be one of the best traders in the world because I would have made a lot of money. Sorry to not be more help, but that's not. I don't trade futures. No, that's not something I can do. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up. We've done a fair bit of analysis. We've talked through all the questions that we had on the Discord. No one else has popped up. Fantastic. All right, guys. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Remember, if you're in America, obviously you still got a trading day tomorrow. But if you're in Oceania like myself, guys, get out tonight. Go enjoy the weekend. Get away from the charts. Mental reset. Come in next week for a new week of trading. Focus up. If you're a live trader with us, you can now book one-on-one meetings with me, and we can run through pretty much everything we discussed today, but more in depth and more personal to your trading and your history. So if there is, yeah, exactly right, Solid. If there is anything that that you want to chat to me about, reach out via the Discord or via the help desk. You can ask me at help@the5percenters.com. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and I look forward to chatting to you all again next week. Enjoy it, guys.